On this exercise, we're going to look at two main things that are required to get the most out of a word processor. That is selection and moving around the document, navigation. First of all, navigation. How do I get around the document? I can either use my mouse pointer to just click where I want to move my flashing cursor. I could also use the arrow keys on the keyboard to move up and down, left and right. These are often called the cursor keys. You can also use a combination of keys which are called keyboard shortcuts. For example, if I hold down the control key, which you'll find in the bottom left corner of your keyboard, and just tap the key that reads home, this will jump the cursor to the very top of the document. Now, this particular document we're looking at has got a number of pages. If I wanted to get to the very bottom of this document, then I could use the Control End key. That means holding down the Control key and tapping the key that says End. So using a combination of those two keystrokes, Control Home takes me to the very top, Control End takes me to the very bottom. Control Home back to the top. If I want to scroll through the document, then on the far right there is what we call a scroll bar. You can see my mouse over it now. If I grab that by holding my left mouse button down and pulling it down, you'll see that as I pull this little slider down, it navigates through the document, and I can push it up again. You can also use the small wheel that you'll find on most modern day mouse control devices. As well as having two buttons, in the middle you'll have a small wheel that you can just scroll up and down the document by using that small wheel. When it comes to selecting anything in a document, then you can use the mouse to click and drag. If I wanted to select these two words here, American cities, I could put my mouse in front of the word American, hold down my left mouse button. While it's held down, I can glide my mouse to the right to highlight those two words. If I wanted to do several lines, I could again click my mouse where I want to begin and start to drag not only across the page but also downwards. That way I can do a whole section. To remove that highlighted selection, you click your mouse anywhere on the document, and they call that deselect. You can always use the keyboard shortcut of using the cursor keys, which we know allows us to move left and right one character at a time or up and down a line, but we can use it to highlight or select. We use the arrow keys in combination with our shift key. On your keyboard, if you hold the key called shift down and then use the arrow keys, I can move to the right, I can move down, up, to the left and to the right. And as long as I keep the finger on the shift key, this gives me a highlighted area with more control. Once again, to deselect, I click anywhere. You can also use some keyboard shortcuts to do a selection of the entire document. If you do Control A that selects everything on every page. That includes pictures, tables and text. You can also use a keyboard shortcut to highlight a range of words and paragraphs. But the most common is using the mouse buttons. If you wanted to select a single word, you can move your mouse over. For example, I want to select the word Boston here. With my mouse just hovering over that word, I can double click the left mouse button and it will select just that one word. If you do a triple click, 3 clicks, 1, 2, 3, it will select an entire paragraph. That would be a quicker way than dragging your mouse over the entire paragraph. Another way that you can select is a more convenient way by using what's called the selection bar area. That's this area here just to the left of your document. You are actually on the page in the margin area. You'll notice that your cursor is a white arrow. If you're too near or on the text, you don't see the white arrow. If I move into this area, I see a white arrow. If I then click and hold my left mouse button down, I can drag it up and down vertically in a much more controlled manner to do multiple line selection. One final thing to point out is that whenever you select a piece of text or a picture or anything that's on the page, you will notice that when you select something, when you let go, you'll notice that there's a little box that pops up. You can see that this mimics the same buttons that are up here on the screen. Microsoft thought that when you select or highlight a part of your document, it makes it convenient if you wanted to do any formatting to make that part of the document look better than just normal text. You don't have to use that floating toolbar.